everyone, and welcome to my channel. I'm Sierra and I enjoy reading books and talking about them to people on the internet. And today I will be starting Veiled Kingdom by Holly Renee, which I'm so excited about. I've had this on my TBR for quite a while. I bought it at Books A Million a couple months ago, and even before then I knew I wanted to read it. But honestly, my TBR is really big. Here, I'll insert a picture of my TBR cart, which is only some of my books that I have on my TBR. Other books are on my other bookshelves. And it takes me a while to get to books that I want to read, but today we're starting it. Let's go ahead and read the summary together so we can know what we're getting into. Fleeing my father's cruelty, the wicked king who robbed me of a future, I faced death in the streets, caught between a rebellion and a tyrant's reign. Captured by those sworn to kill me, the rebels remain blind to my true identity, the missing daughter of the despised king. Faced with an impossible choice, I stand before them, join the rebels, or face their blades. Yet Dacre, the son of the ruthless rebellion commander, becomes torn between suspicion and a desire that mirrors my own. He allows no one to touch me, tries to protect me, yet threatens me at every turn. And as secrets are weaved beyond our hidden realm, a fierce battle unfolds within me. As I get closer to the rebels and their cause, my loyalty to my kingdom clashes with my undeniable devotion to Dacre and the burning connection between us. That sounds really good, and I've decided for the first book that I'm mainly going to listen to it on audiobook and sometimes read the actual physical book because I've already bought it. I like listening to audiobooks because, in my opinion, they're easier to get through and I can listen to them while I'm doing other things, and it's just easier to digest the information. So let's get started. Let's read the first line together because I think the first line of the book really sets the tone for how the series is going to go. So let's see what it is. Okay. Sweat ran down my spine beneath my thin cloak. Okay, kind of anticlimactic, I'll admit, but it still sounds like it's going to be good, so I'm excited to start reading it. Okay, so far it's really good. It's really fast-paced, both because the plot is moving really fast. The MMC and the FMC have already met and it's only chapter 2, so that's really exciting. And also because the chapters are really short, which I love shorter chapters because you just feel more accomplished and like you're getting through the book faster. Even if it's the same length as another book, the shorter the chapter, the better in my book. So here I am just working on some of my knitting while I listen to the audiobook, and there was just a "who did this to you" moment, which I love that trope. And I'm so conflicted right now about if I like Dacre or not. Sometimes he's sweet, like when we said "who did this to you," but most of the time it's like Nira has personally offended him, and I do not know why. I mean, he calls her a little traitor, and I'm like, aren't you all traitors to the crown? You're in a literal rebellion. You're all traitors. Well, anyway, I digress. So I just read chapter 14, and if you know, you know, but I could not handle that chapter. Dacre, the things he says, I can't handle it. So let's keep reading. Okay, so final thoughts. I really love this book. It's a true enemies to lovers, not just because they don't get along, but because she's the princess and he's the rebel leader's son, so they were born enemies. And all the chapters were short and easy to get through, and actually the whole book was pretty short. I'm used to audiobooks being about 12 hours long, and I think this one was only 6 hours. But it ended on a major cliffhanger, and I'm still in shock of how it ended. I don't know how I'm gonna make it until next month when I can get the next audiobook. I'm debating on whether I want to just go ahead and buy the paperback off of Amazon or if I want to wait. I don't know. We'll see in the next few days. I'll let y'all know when the time comes. Here are a few of my favorite quotes from the book. You can pause if you want to read them. Now let's get into my opinions on the characters. First, let's start with Dacre. And if you know, you know, Dacre is the most controversial character in this whole book. There were times when I liked Dacre, like whenever he took care of Nira and whenever he said, "who did this to you?" But most of the time, he was insufferable. I'm hoping now that he knows he has feelings towards Nira and certain things have transpired between them that he's gonna act better towards her in the second book, but I guess we'll just have to wait and see. No, I'm not asking for much. Just please be nice, Dacre. Please be nice. That's all I'm asking. Next, Nira, the FMC. I loved her. even though she was training throughout the entire book and she didn't really get any better, I don't care. I personally don't think that female main characters need to train and be strong and tough to be likable. But she also was just trying her best, and I appreciate that. And I'm interested to see the things she's going to be getting up to in the second book. If you know, you know. Next, Dacre's sister Ren. I loved her. She was so supportive towards Nira throughout the entire book, and she really would put Dacre in her place, which I loved. And I think those are the only characters I care to talk about, so I'm done with the character recap portion. So I will be rating this book 5 stars. I really enjoyed it. It was really entertaining, and if I'm being honest, I rate most books 5 stars. I'm easily entertained, but this was such a good book. So let's move on to book 2. Okay, so I'm about halfway through Hunted Heir, the second book in the Veiled Kingdom series, and as of right now, it's just as good as the first book, and maybe even better, since I already have connected with all of the characters. So far, I am liking Dacre so much more than in the first book. He had a personality shift. In the first book, he was just a jerk and insufferable most of the time, but now he's sweet and protective, and I just love him. I hope he stays that way because I don't want to have to deal with his attitude again. Okay, so here are my final thoughts on The Hunted Heir, the second book in the Veiled Kingdom series. I love this book even more than the first book. It really allowed us to see the depths of each character, and it explores the different motivations, desires, and complex relationships. If you had trouble relating to the characters in the first book, I would definitely recommend this one because they do a much better job of exploring each character's motivations. Again, this book is really short, especially compared to the first one. I think it was only about 5 hours long on the audiobook. And the story actually moves really fast paced, so you don't get bored really often because it just keeps moving and moving. Now, if you're into this book for the spice, I will say there were only about 2 spicy scenes and they were at the very end. So if you're going into it saying, I want a spicy book, I wouldn't necessarily say that this book is really spicy. And the end actually reminds me a lot of Glass Sword by Victoria Aveyard. I won't get into exactly how because I don't want to spoil it, but if you know, you know. And oh, does Miss Holly Renee love her cliffhangers. I can't with her in each book. They're just always a cliffhanger. Here's some quotes from the book that I loved. You can pause to read. Now, my opinions on the characters. Okay, first of all, Dacre his character has done a complete 180. In the first book, I could not stand him. He was so just, I'd say like a vile character, honestly. I did not like him, but this book, he's so like caring and just so like devoted to Verena, and I just love him in this book. I love reading his chapters that are from his point of view. And Verena, I'll be honest, I don't know if it's because I'm reading the audiobook and so I can hear her character talking, but I'm a little annoyed with her in this book. She isn't my favorite FMC that I've ever read, but she's not bad. And can we talk about how no one in this book series has a good father figure? I mean, it's just terrible. Well, that's the end of book 2, The Hunted Heir. Next time you see me, I'll be starting book 3. Let's go. So the book starts out pretty rough, not because of the writing, but simply because what the characters are going through. But I can assure you it gets much better really soon, so don't give up if you're feeling hopeless or like things aren't going to get better. Okay guys, we're in the home stretch. So far, the only criticism I have of this book and the series in general is I feel like they aren't exploring the politics in war as thoroughly as I expected. Basically, nothing really happens in the whole first 2 books, and I feel the same about the first half of this book, but I will update y'all when I finish. Okay, so here are my final thoughts on the Veiled Kingdom series. I think that it's a very romance-focused series. Like, I'd say it's a romance with fantasy elements because there is political intrigue, but it's mainly in the background and you mainly hear about it and don't actually see it, especially not until the last book. And I'm telling you, nothing really actually happens until the last few chapters. So if you go into this book, just keep that in mind. And it's a very interesting world. I have never read a book where everyone is supposed to have powers, and to be born powerless is strange. But I think it really worked for the story and for the characters. Finally, would I recommend this series? Yes. I don't know if I'd recommend the audiobook over just reading it on paperback, because there were a few times in the audiobook where I cringed a little at the narration. You just need to take into consideration whether you like audiobooks and prefer those over paperback. So yeah, I love this trilogy, and Holly Renee, if you see this, I'd love a spin-off about Kai and Ren. I think it would be so fun. So yeah, that's the end of this reading vlog. Thank you all for watching. I appreciate it so much. I have a couple more videos planned, so watch out for those. See y'all next time!